We back. I'm your host Pierre, man, with Brunch Club Atlanta, man. We're at Motivational Monday. Thank you once again for the continued support that we've been receiving. We have so many great individuals. If you have anybody that you know that has a business or artist or creative, whatever, have them reach out to us. Send us an email at brunchclubatlanta@gmail.com. Thank you once again. I have joined with a great individual, a great esthetician, Miss Kendra of Keiko Faces Beauty. First and foremost, thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
And I'm sorry that you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
You mean I'm sorry I'm a winner?
Yeah.
So I'm Kendra Cochran, aka Keiko Faces Beauty. I'm originally from Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
I've been here in Atlanta for 15 years. I've been a makeup artist for almost 15 years now.
Wow.
And an esthetician almost 6 years.
Oh.
And I work in Camp Creek Marketplace.
Okay.
In our community, and yeah.
Wow, that's what's up. I'm sorry to hear about Flint and the water and everything that's been going on. And stuff
it's still
like
going
that.
on. It is still going on. I get that a lot, of course.
Yeah.
That's like the first question. What's about the water situation?
Yeah.
And I appreciate the sorry, because sometimes, unfortunately, you have those jokes.
Yeah.
And I always combat it with, hey, yeah, I have someone that is having a hard time getting pregnant right now because of the water situation.
Wow.
I have someone, everybody knows someone that's kind of passed away from underlying issues with the lead situation, that they just won't say that's what it is, but we know that's what it is. My best friend, her children have horrible skin conditions from the lead situation. So yeah, it's
This has been like, what, 7 years? 10 years?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
2014.
Wow. Wow, and it's a part of everybody's day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So, and then that's also probably have a segue to recycling problems because everybody's drinking bottles of water and everything too. Yeah,
exactly.
So that's crazy. I know it's a blessing that you're removed from that environment.
Yeah, it is. And you think about your family members that are back at home. My dad, fortunately, moved down actually 2 weeks before COVID.
Oh wow!
And he came down and stayed with me, and just the relief. Although he was closer to the Detroit area, still having him there and dealing with those situations of going back home, visiting family members, him being older, it was like I'm so glad that he's back here now.
Yes,
But even just for my friends and family that are still there, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Because even when I go back home to visit, don't forget to take your water bottle in there to brush your teeth.
Huh. Wow.
You don't think about stuff like that. You just turn the faucet on and you brush your teeth. Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy. So with all that going on and whatnot, you actually have your own business and an esthetician, Keiko Faces Beauty, right?
Beauty, yes.
Beauty, okay.
Yes.
So with that, that's something that's so important when it comes to just creating a foundation, building confidence in your individual. Talk a little bit about how you started that and what's kind of your, let's say, your mission statement for your business.
Okay. So I want to start off with my mission statement, and it is enhancing the beauty that lies within.
Okay.
I feel like, especially in Atlanta, we are kind of superficial. Everything is kind of,
Instagram,
beauty,
quick photo,
and really that can be everywhere. But here, it's the Black Hollywood.
Yeah.
And your appearance is everything. However, back when I was 15, and when we initially talked about this, I was in a singing group, and we didn't have a budget. So my A&R took us to go to get makeup from the Ultimate MAC Cosmetics. Took us to an amazing makeup artist, George, who's still in Detroit doing amazing things. And he showed us how to do makeup. It was in that moment I knew, I probably love singing, but I think I like doing makeup. I don't know, it was just a feeling. I can remember doing my band members' makeup and loving that feeling. So from that point on, from being late to my own prom because I was doing everybody's makeup to coming down to Atlanta.
Was your face beating less?
It was.
Okay.
It was. Coming down to Atlanta, working at all kinds of different counters, doing independent work, TV and film, and it wasn't until in the makeup industry, you could have a job for 4 months and then not have a job for 6 months.
Wow.
It is it's
It's up and down.
It's up and down.
Yes.
Unless you do work at a makeup counter, but I wanted to be out there a little bit more. I have some part of stability because the bills that I had, they were not conducive to up and down work.
Okay, no more consistency.
Exactly. So I spoke it over with my sister and my best friends, and they were like, why don't you go to school for aesthetics? And I was like, you know what, that's what I did. And literally a month after that, I was in school for aesthetics. Wow. And it's been all she wrote, and I absolutely love it. One thing about doing makeup, you know, you have I did a lot of bridal too as well, and it's amazing to do makeup for the bridal industry because 9 times out of 10, they've had a horrible ride to get to the wedding with planning.
Oh, yeah. A lot of stress and drama.
It's a lot of stress.
Women working with each other.
Exactly. Only a handful of women that I've worked with where they just didn't have any issues. Most of the time, they are like, oh, I'm so glad this is over. And it is not until they sit down into my chair and they get their makeup done. And then they're like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And then I have to hurry up and give them some tissue because they're ruining my beautiful work.
Oh, wow.
Other than that, it was because of doing makeup where I would come across compromised skin a lot. And it bothered me because...
Like alopecia and something?
Well, alopecia is more so with the hair.
Okay.
Compromised skin meaning like acne, cystic acne, hyperpigmentation, dark blemishes, all those kinds of things where even under makeup you can tell there's an issue. So I wanted to figure out how to combat that with my makeup artistry. And that was what we came up with, and of course that was the right thing to do. And it's one thing for me to be able to make you look pretty, but I want to give you the education on how to make you do this every day with your life, whether if that's what you're taking in, eating, whether if it's your skincare regimen, whether if it's, you know, certain makeup that you're using, the ingredients. I wanted to be able to help my clients from whatever aspect they needed to do in that realm in the beauty industry.
It's more than just that moment of you coming.
It's more than that.
It's actually you're consulting them and building them to be a better individual moving forward. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So just to go in a little bit of like your job, was there any type of like, I guess, outline that you established early on before you jumped out and becoming your own entrepreneur?
Yes.
So like a lot of write down to-do lists and certain things like that. Kind of walk us through a little bit of that.
So I'm more of a hands-on person. I mean, I can write a paper in a minute. However, it was more taking classes. It was having multiple conversations with my mentors. It was learning and asking questions from other estheticians.
Yeah, that's important.
I am not that one to be like, oh, I don't want her to know that I don't want to learn about that. I'm going to ask. For one, you're dealing with, in skincare, you're dealing with chemicals, you're dealing with all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So you ask. And I just want to learn, you know, to make myself better. It's no shame in asking. And how the game, I would say my blueprint would be more so making sure I stick to what I said I was going to do so far as
sticking to your original plan.
Sticking to my original plan. So if that was, okay, take these classes, Kendra, to make sure you know ingredients. Take these classes so that way you know, okay, what do you need to do to open up a spa? What do you need to go on Georgia Board of Cosmetology to make sure that you're not getting fined when State Board comes in there? It seems pretty simple, but when you're trying to get licenses and all that other stuff, it can be difficult. However, just making sure you stick to your game plan. It works out, but then again, when you get into your suites, when you get into your salons, when you get into certain cities, certain townships. Yeah,
because you took a risk just coming to Atlanta and then doing this.
It took a risk. Seriously. I didn't even realize how much the beauty industry ruled Atlanta.
Yeah, beauty and hair.
Beauty and hair. Yeah. And more so, I just thought about hair. You know, when you think of Atlanta, you think Brown Brothers, right? And then you think of makeup, but you don't think of all the aspects of makeup. You don't think of skincare. And the fact that I did it here in Atlanta and this thriving city of, you know, some people try to say, oh, well, it's saturated.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, what's for me is for me. And I really mean that.
Amen.
It is room for everybody. You don't go in a hospital and say, this hospital is saturated with doctors. You don't. And I think that is because a lot of people think this is like a monetary, you don't need it.
Yes.
In our community, I feel like, and that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, in our community, we think of skincare as a luxury, and it is not. And I always ask, what is the biggest organ in your body?
Your heart, is it?
No.
Your skin, actually, I'm sorry. Yes, your skin, I'm sorry.
Your skin.
Yep.
You got
it covers your whole entire body.
It covers your whole entire body. And it has to last you. And one of the things that really drove me to kind of stick with our community is because, you know, we'll go buy a bottle of Belvedere and stand on a couch here in Atlanta.
$250 bucks.
Exactly. But I ain't got no money for the $85 facial. You know, I'm a little forward, and I tell those same men that stand on those couches, it's like, you got skin of an 18-year-old child.
Wow, wow, wow.
And that's not in your budget. It's prioritizing. And that's...
I can attest to the men too, with just having an understanding of those type of conversations we don't have. Even though they're very important, it's just the fact of like, we work out, but you know, you're getting blisters and stuff on your hands, and you're getting calluses and whatnot, and it's just, well, maybe I'll put some lotion on and put some water in.
But I'm not going to go get a pedicure.
Yeah, my first pedicure my mom took me, and then after that it took me like 6 more years to go before I got another one. And it's just, it's something that's not a part of the repetition of like, I need to have that a part of my life. And it's a level of education that you're providing for something like that. And I think that is very important. And it's admirable the fact of like, having somebody like you come in and educate somebody, just understanding it's more than just looking good, it's also creating health for yourself too. And like understanding like, you might not know, but you might have a breakout that might have flared up if you'd have paid attention to your skin. And you might react, because I know I react to sunlight sometimes, just that when UV rays messing up my skin and stuff. And it's just having that understanding and education on the aspect of men is something that we don't talk about at all.
And I absolutely love it when my clients, the wives, come in and they're like, oh, I'm going to bring my husband, I'm going to bring my boyfriend. And they come in, they're just dragging their feet. They don't want to come in, right?
You gotta look at my toes.
Man, when they come in, by the time that steam hits their face, and they're like, Miss Kendra, you think I can come back and do this again?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the education of what is this? You know, a basic facial is your double cleanse, your exfoliation with steam, your extractions, you're analyzing the skin before that, your extractions, your mask, your moisturizer, and your SPF. And that the big thing is, oh, I don't need SPF. Yes, you do. Day and night. Yes, you do.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Black folks need SPF because at the end of the day, we still can burn. You just said.
Yep. And that's something I'm thinking, like, I'm getting older, so my skin's acting different. No, it's probably always happened. You just wasn't paying attention.
Wasn't paying attention.
Wow.
Black folks need SPF. They do.
More than just cocoa butter.
More than just cocoa butter. And let's talk about that cocoa butter. And then
please don't, because that's exactly right.
Cocoa butter, your oils, your shea butters, they do not penetrate the skin.
Wow.
They sit on top of the skin.
They just cover your pores up and suffocate your skin. So what would you suggest somebody use as a substitute for shea butter or cocoa butter? Like, just some oil or something?
Actually, what I always say is a good esthetician would say, come in and come see me because your skin is different from mine.
That's true. That's
you know,
true.
And my skin is different from yours. So I could tell you, oh, you could go use this, this, and this, and this. And I didn't look at all this stuff that you may be allergic to. I think, especially with black folks, and don't get me wrong, I am all about the holistic approach.
Yes.
But natural doesn't always mean good for you. Natural products are very potent because they are pure. So what does it look like when I tell you, oh yeah, I love essential oils, but then you just put essential oils on your arm? You'll get burned.
Yeah. Wow.
But because it's natural, you feel like I can use it in any form, any way, and you can't. So again, it's that education.
Doing your research about who you are and how your skin reacts to certain things before you do anything. That's beautiful. That's awesome. So we're gonna go back into a little bit of yourself, outline your business. So early on, like, did you see yourself being who you are now? And I kind of want to ask another secondary question. Were there certain ways that you used to motivate yourself intrinsically to get to where you are now as well?
Yes. Actually, before beauty, as you know, I'm a big avid sports fan.
Yeah.
I wanted to be your next Sage Steele.
Okay.
I wanted to be a sports analyst.
That's what's up. Okay.
There wasn't many women, there wasn't many black women doing that, and I just loved it. It was a way for, my father only has myself and my sister, 2 girls.
Okay.
And it was a way for us to kind of connect. I was his boy, you know, like I did the
Are you
sports.
older or younger?
I'm the youngest,
Okay.
but I was the sports. I was the outside. I was
the Tom
you know,
Brady
yeah, I knew the statistics. I knew everything and who was out and who was in and who went to college and who got drafted and all. That was the love that we shared with each other. And still do. But that's what I wanted to do. In between that, I kind of started doing, you know, the beauty stuff. And again, like I said before, I was singing. Even though I was singing, I knew that in the back of my mind, I knew that wasn't what I was going to do. I was good at it.
Yes.
And I knew it would probably give me a way to do what I wanted to do, but it wasn't going to be the end all be all.
Wow.
It was either going to be something sports related or the beauty industry.
The beauty industry. That was something you found through singing.
Exactly.
And beauty.
Exactly.
That's the word. It's amazing how God works sometimes,
It works.
man. For real.
Yeah.
So what other ways, how do you motivate yourself then?
Working out.
Okay.
Actually. The highest I've ever been is close to 190.
Wow.
And believe it or not, making sure that you're disciplined in what you're eating, what you're, you know, working out every single day, having your rest day also, finding ways to work out and it not be boring. That actually motivates me to do the work that I need to do, because I know, okay, if I get up at 5 in the morning, go work out at 5:30, come back home to get dressed, it's like you're ready to go.
Yeah. I love that. That's like the biggest excitement I have, knowing it's like I got this whole day left now.
Exactly.
Instead of dragging out of bed, waking up.
Exactly. And you know, you get tired, but at the same time, I've got so much stuff done working out. Am I doing that now? In all honesty, no.
COVID, man. Quarantine to do it, man.
But I tell you, I had gained some weight back, just being lazy and being complacent because I knew the regimen that I had, it worked.
Yeah.
So once you know that, you just kind of slack off. Like, oh, I can go back and do that. Well, during quarantine, everybody was talking about this quarantine 15, and like I told you before, my father had moved down. And with him being older, he had never moved out of Michigan. I wanted to make sure that his mental state was great, my mental state was great. And we worked out every day. We would go up to Mays High School, and if anybody knows Mays High School, they have like all kinds of hills. Like it is, you can literally not take any bikes, no workout equipment, and just walk, and you'll burn lots and lots of calories.
Mays High School. Okay.
Mays High School, yes. And we did that every single day, and I actually ended up losing like 15, 20 pounds because of just the workout ethic of, okay, this is where I'm at. I don't want whatever's going on in the world to deter me to make that into a negative aspect.
That was your scapegoat.
That was my scapegoat.
Yes.
And which also let me realize, like, that is my coping mechanism to whether if it's work, whether if it's family, whether if it's relationships, working out is the tool to help me catapult something positive in what I'm doing.
Positive reinforcement. And how I kind of look at when I work out is like faith for me. Because it's like it's a vision of what I want to look like physically, but it's like I don't see it now. So I have to consistently work at it. Even though sometimes I do sag off, but at least I know that I believe that I'm going to look a particular type of way. So that's what motivates me to continue to work out. And that's why I enjoy working out.
Right.
Yeah, it's just that it's another way of faith, and it's kind of like my metaphor of prosperity.
Right.
And seeing it as a sense too. So that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's wonderful. So what would you say to like a young girl coming up and a 13-year-old trying to figure it out, you know, what would you say to her?
Stay consistent.
Okay.
If that's something that you really, really want to do, consistency across the board for anything that you want to do. It's
10,000 hours.
It's gonna either make you realize that's something that you really want to do or you don't want to do. And I always tell people, like for instance, I have like women who tell me that their young girls like to play in makeup and they're not old enough to play in makeup. And I had the conversation with my mother because of course growing up, you know, you're not supposed to have makeup on.
Not supposed to have color in your hair or like hair type of way.
Yeah. And it's like you can do that, but you can't be 10 years old playing in full MAC makeup, right?
Yeah.
Well,
so they do it now though.
Exactly. And I tell those parents, and my mom always tells me, she'd be like, you know, I wish I would have eased up a little bit because I didn't realize that was something that actually would have been a trade and something that you're doing now that you absolutely love doing. And I tell them all the time, I have a goddaughter and she loves playing in makeup, and I always encourage her mom, hey, let her play with it. If this is something that she likes to do, when she goes away to school, if that's what she wants to do, she could have a sideline job doing makeup for everybody. And to piggyback off that, trades are in.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That's a beautiful thing.
Trades are in.
My whole upbringing, I was taught to go to school.
Go to school.
Work for somebody.
And exactly, and it's nothing wrong with that. You know, I went to school, but at the same time, even in school, it was my trade that made money. And I don't take that education that I received, you know, from school, but at the same time, I have a whole sister that is an MD and she's working under me for aesthetics.
Wow.
Because she wants a trade. And the first time I really understood trade is when I moved down here to Atlanta, and a good friend of mine, Aubrey, he went to Clark, Atlanta, and he always would be cutting hair. And I'm like, oh, you really like to cut hair? Something you like to do, right? And he was just like, yeah. And then one day he told me, he was like, well, I'll call you when I get off work. I said, oh, where do you work at? Because he threw parties. I was like, you work at like a club during the day? And he was like, no, I cut hair. And I was like, oh, you cut hair for real?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, well, you're only 19. When did you go to barber school? And he was just like, my mom owned a salon. And when he said when he turned 16, his mother made him go to barber college.
She started early.
That had to be the smartest thing I ever heard. And he was like, I hated it. But he was like, now I make so much money while I'm in school.
Wow.
Set him up early.
That he doesn't even really have to go where he goes to school. Where he don't have to
And he
did.
I believe he told me he started when he was 16, and it took him all the way, because of course he was in high school. It took him all the way until he graduated high school, maybe a little longer. But he was set up with a trade. That's something that nobody can never take away from him. And he'll always have that skill to be able, okay, if these corporate jobs don't work out, I'm gonna cut hair.
Yep. And something you said that's so important, just like with your goddaughter, as well as the guy you mentioned with the barber school, empowering the youth early on is so important. And just establishing a platform for education to them. Because a lot of times we might perceive them as kids being kids, but they're actually learning like we're learning. And it's just in a different type of set standard. And it's like early on, he hated something that turned into his cash cow.
Exactly.
And I think that is so amazing that you brought it up. It's just the fact of like understanding to empower the youth.
And I think people with trades have this creative spirit with them. And not to say people that went to, you know, the collegiate way, but
because it's different to have a trade and be an entrepreneurship.
It's different.
Yep.
It's different. And those creatives, they have this thing of, it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit more oomph. For one, because most people believe, hey, you gotta go to school. Trades is still kind of like, that's not gonna sustain you, depending on what kind of trade you're in. So when I hear young girls, they say, hey, I want to do makeup, or I want to do hair, I want to do aesthetics, go for it. Get with somebody like myself or somebody that does hair and have those conversations. Like I said, I still do that myself. I talk with my mentors. I'm in the works of doing something big for myself for Keiko Faces Beauty, and I know my mentor be like, what in the world? I call her down to the smallest things. For one, because she's been an esthetician for over 25 years. My makeup mentor, Miss Gwyneth Mosby, I love her to death. She's
hey, Miss Gwen.
Yeah, hey, Miss Gwen. she's been doing makeup longer than I've been alive. And it's certain things that they know, certain things that they can make sure that you don't bump your head doing. I'm not trying to make this harder than what it already is.
Yes.
So I tell those young girls, ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. Do your research. Practice.
Yep.
Practice. Allen Iverson, practice. We're talking about practice, not games.
Practice.
Practice. Practice. You have to practice.
Yep. Like you said, consistency with anything. And that's important. Asking questions.
Yep.
I feel like that was something that I had to learn early on when I went through college. Just going and meeting so many different people from different demographics, you kind of had that mind state of like, okay, maybe I shouldn't ask, maybe I should wait or just do a little extra work. But it's important to ask somebody how to do stuff as well as just understand how somebody learns certain things.
Right.
Because you don't necessarily have to learn it the same way they do, but you can at least understand a concept or a formula that they established for themselves. And that's kind of the reason behind this whole Motivational Monday show, is because everybody is going and have their own ambition and their formulas are completely different.
Right.
But it's certain things that you hit on earlier today, just about like empowering the youth, just about establishing your outline, that might be a formula to help somebody else, or just highlight them to understand their purpose. Here it is, you have people who were singing that ended up becoming an esthetician.
Right.
That is two completely different realms, but there's still something that understanding your happiness, and that's the biggest thing.
So again, my name is Kendra Cochran, Keiko Faces Beauty. All my handles on social media is Keiko Faces Beauty, KCO Faces Beauty. If you have any skincare questions, if you want a book, www.styleseek.com/Keiko Faces Beauty. Hit me up. Any men, women, I do waxing, chemical peels, makeup, education on makeup, because some people want to do makeup, for themselves. They just don't know how. Bridal, like I said earlier, everything beauty. And if I don't know, I can refer you out to somebody that I don't know. I'm big on that. I'm big on referrals. So again, Keiko Faces Beauty, hit me up.
All right, thank you so much.